Welcome back to Geek Show Arcade.
Hey guys,
That's right.
We're here to play you.
We're here to talk about games and
I don't
play
like that one.
you.
What? Yeah.
That sounded wrong.
On a
That was
Geek
little
Show,
dirty. Don't like
video
it.
games play
Don't
you.
like it. Don't like it.
I need James's Russian accent. Oh, James.
Russian? It's like some form of maybe Eastern European or Western. It comes from everywhere. His accent is just.
I know.
You can't put it. You can't
And
put
if it's
a
I love
location
that
on it.
I love that the longer it goes, the more it arcs towards
Different
Irish.
It gets.
The more it arcs towards Irish, but like not like. Anyway, James.
Indeed. Let's see. It's the Geek Show Arcade, where we talk about video games and video game related things. That can be anything from video game adaptations on television, movies, to the video games we're playing on PC or console.
Did you guys watch the new Minecraft trailer?
Yeah,
I haven't
and
watched the new one yet.
And
I watched
even
the first one.
though
You should watch it.
computer parts and reviews and hardware should actually be part of technology, we do those over here on the game side too, because Tony's a authoritarian monster.
What are you talking
Yeah,
about?
he is.
This is a specific gaming CPU that I'm gonna
believe.
do.
Would you
It is
do your intro again?
specifically-
You're lumping it in with video game related things. It's silicon.
It's the thing
Tony,
that
and
powers
chips.
the video game.
Powers. It's technology.
It's technology that powers the video game.
You
I'm
are-
with Owen.
Owen is just being
Firmly-
contrary because he was offended.
I was
He got-
I'm impossible offended. I don't have feelings or emotions.
He got his feel bads hurt last
He did.
episode of
I
Help
did?
Desk, and now
What'd I
he's
do?
trying to take it out on us.
Yeah, he
No.
is. Tony,
I'm with Owen.
it's not,
just for the record.
It's not us. It's Owen.
Yeah. Well, and Lando.
And
Tech goes in the tech show. Games go in the game show. Period.
That's the dumbest
Would you
thing I ever
review
heard.
a PS5 on the tech show?
Yes.
No.
Yeah,
No, you
hardware,
wouldn't.
Hardware.
You guys are
gadgets,
ridiculous.
tech, gadgets.
All right. Let's introduce our panelist. He's ridiculous. He's Lando.
I'm not ridiculous. Oh,
You are so ridiculous.
yeah, I kind of am. It's me, Lando. I'm the ridiculous one. But you love me, and I'm here, and all's well. Sign up for Patreon. Let's go.
Okay. He's also ridiculous. He's Owen.
Owen, it's me.
What were you going to say during my intro? Huh?
I thought he was gonna announce Jarron. I was trying to help him out there. It's Jarron, also ridiculous. You can follow me on Blue Sky. Ridiculous Jarron. Actually, you know what? I am on
don't
Blue
claim
Sky.
that.
It's now actually what it is. I am on Blue Sky Technoan. If you want to go there and follow me, I just
There
signed
you
in
go.
for the first time in a year.
All right. Don't forget about Jarron, who's Jarron.
Ridiculous.
Hi, I'm Jarron. You can find me on Blue Sky at Jaronius. I actually blued myself twice today. No, once today, and
I blew myself.
once a
Blew
day or two
yourself?
ago. Yeah, that's how you say, like, on Twitter, you tweeted. On Blue Sky, you blued yourself.
Blued. Oh, I
Yep.
lost that. I lost the D. Sorry.
I think
So anyway.
I think that's going to catch on, Jarron. I think you're I think
Keep
you're on the
trying.
trend.
Keep
I
trying,
blued
my dude.
myself at work today, and I thought it went pretty well. I got a like, and
I kind of
Woohoo.
like.
I want to say I have 18 followers, and I don't know how.
Was
exactly. Blue Sky's a magical place.
And then I'm reading their descriptions, and I absolutely jive with every single one of them, like on their profile descriptions. I don't know what's going on there, but welcome, you 18 lovely humans.
is this Jarron's intro?
Sorry,
yeah,
Jarron.
Owen has a problem.
Jarron,
He's obsessed with me.
How many followers do you have, Jarron?
20 something.
Awesome.
That's more than me.
I was just trying to kick it back to Jarron.
And we got a host. His name is Tony.
Oh, check me out on Twitter. Where I
Also
will ride-
ridiculous.
Yeah, oh, there's no doubt about that. I will ride that ship down to the bottom of the sea as it sinks in flames.
What are you still getting from?
What is he?
from-
What
from
are you
X?
there for?
What are
I'm
you still
there
getting from
for-
X now with the Exodus?
I'm there for everything. For all the ridiculousness, all the nonsense.
You like
my,
just
it's my
seeing
courtside seat
the chaos.
to the
But
implosion
Why?
of
Doesn't
the
that
world.
of
affect
society.
your brain?
No,
grapes?
Jarron, compartmentalize.
Oh,
Yeah.
Take all those
Gosh.
feelings and shove them into a little bottle,
Yeah,
and then
dude,
take that
it's
bottle
we're
and bury
so
it in the mental ground that you
Yeah.
have.
You know, I
until
used to be pretty
eventually
good.
It turns into a black hole, and it's all gone.
Eventually, it ferments and becomes worth something.
I used to be good at
That's right.
compartmentalization, and now I suck at it.
Yeah.
Well, that's too bad. Hey, do we have any emails?
Yeah, we do.
Oh, cool. Hang on. Had to find the button.
Got an email from Seth, which he
Hey,
actually sent to Help Desk, but it's
That's okay.
arcade.
Totally
got
fine,
it.
Seth. Don't even worry about it.
Hey, Help
it's a
Deskers,
hardware review.
arcaders. My Game Pass Ultimate is about to expire, and I don't think I'm going to renew. In the past,
After Owen's story today, you might rethink that one.
Oh, I have to put that on there.
In the past, there were ways to get a year of it for $40, but it seems like Microsoft now wants everyone to pay the full $20 a month.
Correct.
Do you know of any good deals or ways to save? I will be sad to see my Xbox account go dark for the first time since the Halo 2 launch. Rest in peace.
I did the same.
Also, Owen is I can't read that.
Read it.
Yes.
You have to. You're obligated.
Owen's the
Obligated.
best. Owen's the best.
Yes.
Oh, look at this guy.
Thanks, Seth.
Seth, that's a strong name. It's my
You
middle
should probably change your little lower third here, Owen, so it says Owen the best.
The best.
name. The best. And
The
then
best.
put a little dash. Seth. Thanks, Seth.
So you want to check out cdkeys.com. They're kind of I don't know if they're a gray market, but they're kind of gray market. But you can usually find Microsoft, what do you call it? Sorry, Xbox Ultimate Game Pass for, I don't know, 20% off the normal
Did
price. 25%
Did they close
off.
Did they close the gold loophole
Yeah,
thing?
you can't do the upgrade.
Like did that like a
anymore.
year ago or a year and a
Yeah.
half ago, huh? I missed out
So
on that.
there's that. Another thing you could try and do is places like Costco and others will sometimes run. Well, Costco, it's all the time. You can buy Xbox credit for less than what it's actually worth. So at Costco, you can almost always buy $90 of Xbox credit or $100 of Xbox credit for $90. So that's another way to, if you wanted to not use CD keys or whatever, you could basically get 10% off Xbox Game Pass that way, because you buy those and then use those to pay for Xbox Game Pass. But yeah, they've closed all the easy ways to get it cheap now.
Yeah, $20 a month.
Microsoft.
It's pricey. It feels like you'd be better off
So
just buying games outright.
yeah, and the other thing to think about too is that's for the Ultimate.
If you
they
don't
have
need
the
it on PC and console, you can.
they have their cheaper option. It's I think $15 a month or $12 or something like that.
Mhm.
But the problem with that one is you don't get day one exclusive games when they come out. You have to wait for them to bring them over, sometimes taking like up to a year. So honestly, the best deal in gaming right now for that is PC Game Pass, because that's like $12 a month, and you get all the perks on PC. But if you don't play on PC, then it's not an option. So yeah, Microsoft is raising the prices. Jerks.
Jerks. We got another email from Chris Cushley, our friend across the pond.
Well.
But it's about UK elections, and he tells us not to read it because it's pretty long and it has nothing to do with gaming. But I'll leave it up to you guys. Should I read
How
it or
long? How long?
no? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 paragraphs.
100%
Well,
you should read it.
If he specifically asked us,
I know,
not
Jarron.
to-
I know Jarron's not strong. This isn't your strong suit, but could you give us a summary?
No.
Stop. Put it
He-
in ChatGPT and have it summarized.
He's answering Owen's question, so I'm just going to forward it to Owen. Except
don't want
I don't have Owen's email address. So
Good.
never mind, I won't.
Good.
Put it into ChatGPT and have it summarize it.
It'll take longer than just for me to read it. Okay, I want to read it. I want to read it.
Never mind. I'm over it.
I say respect to the wishes of Chris, who
Yeah.
said don't read it.
So feel free to not read it on the podcast. He's telling us
it
not
says the
to
option.
not
Okay,
do it.
okay,
Yeah.
I got you.
We're gonna give you
yeah.
guys some cold.
Read
it.
You're getting cold.
Let's hear
Hey guys, this is a long email and in no way about gaming, so feel free to not read it on the podcast.
Wait a minute. What?
Was more to answer Owen's question. In answer to Owen's question on UK government taking place on the July 4th, no, it's not due to the US Independence Day. It just happened to be the same day this year. A UK government term is 5 years from the day it first takes office, but can be called sooner. This is usually done by the current PM meeting with the Queen King to call for dissolution of the government. This is merely a formality due to tradition. They usually try to do this when their party is most favorable, so they will get reelected if they know they have something in the pipeline that's going to upset the people or the opposing parties aren't in a strong position.
Interesting.
Voting also works different. We don't vote for a PM the way you guys vote for a president. We vote for local MPs, and the leader of the party that gets the most of those becomes the PM. So it's kind of like we vote for regional managers, and the CEO of the party that got the most regional managers becomes the PM. And he links to a video on BBC on how it works.
That's
And
kind of similar-ish to the electoral college a little bit.
and then another video on what's wrong with it. He goes on to say, I'm from Northern Ireland, Belfast to be exact. Watch the second video to see why I mentioned that. Where we are another step removed from the process. Here, our options aren't even from the parties that end up making the governmental party of the UK. The ones we vote in then have to vote on our behalf. In Northern Ireland, it falls into tribal voting instead of what's better for the people. Most people vote for a party to keep the other party out, which usually comes down to which religion the party represents. Chris, hey, that feels like the U.S.
I was like,
So
a
it's not too
party
far
not
off.
represent a party not voting for what they represent. Yep, they're right in line with what we know.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, thanks for
Suddenly political talk
explanation.
on the game show. You're welcome.
We're helping people get culture.
You telling me you
Yep.
didn't enjoy that, Lando? You
I
didn't like
sure
the learning?
did. I'm watching
See?
a show on Netflix right now called The Diplomat. Very, very good.
See?
About
It
the
would have been closer
U.S.
to our
ambassador to
vibe.
Britain.
Belly
Very good
aching
show.
over here.
If it would have been closer to our content if Jarron would have used ChatGPT, which is a technology thing, but he's not smart enough to do it. So
Oh man, roasted. Anyway, is that all the emails?
Yep.
Thanks, folks, for writing in. If you feel like writing in, geekshowrcade@gmail.com, and we'll maybe, probably, most definitely read your email, even if you say we don't need to.
It's funny 'cause it's
Let's
true.
see. We need to kick this off with the most important thing of the week, by far,
My
review.
review
My
of the 9800 X3D.
Oh, I
Tony's
thought
review.
we were
Okay.
kicking it to game. I thought we were kicking it to Xbox. Okay,
No,
Never
not
mind.
yet.
Rolling that
not
back.
yet. So,
Oh.
go ahead and give your impressions, Jarron,
Okay, I'll go quick, and then you can fill in the cracks.
because I actually
The
did
cracks.
hours.
Look up the crumbs.
I did hours of benchmarks.
Tony is good at filling in
Did
cracks.
the data. I have all the data listed
that
here, and I put a lot more into this than you did, Jarron.
All right, so for my anecdotal evidence.
Yeah. So here, hold on.
Jeez,
Jarron's
get outta
gonna
here.
Jarron's gonna give the review of the people.
Yes, thank you, Owen.
Yeah.
Now you're on my side. What the heck? I don't get
gonna
it.
Give,
He's
Tony's
on
gonna give
whoever's-
Tony's gonna give the scientific, actual, factual review. From
Yeah.
you, Jarron, I want the Coliseum version. I want the
just wanna be entertained.
Caesar up.
So
yeah, just
I actually
entertained.
reviewed it on Blue Sky today when I blued myself, and I'll just read that. So
What
I said the 9800 X3D is an amazing chip coming from the 5900 X.
And they blued you for this?
No, he blew himself for this.
Oh, he
blued
blued
himself.
himself. And you got
Um,
upvoted for that? Ugh.
Yeah. Okay, I'm not going to read it because that sounds bad. It sounds like I'm reading. Anyway, I'm coming from a 5900X. I love it so much.
This
From what
is your
I've
review,
seen, like
I
really
love it.
really bad PC ports, which have traversal stutter, shader compilation stutter. It improves those dramatically. It doesn't get
Specifically Star Wars? Did you?
Specifically, Star Wars.
yeah.
Yeah.
The
It doesn't-
Jedi Survivor.
It doesn't fix it entirely. You still see skips and stuff,
Right.
but it lessens the impact
Right.
of these stutters considerably.
It's
So, but-
enough horsepower,
Noticeably
right?
better.
It's
So-
enough horsepower to just
Yep.
muscle
Before
past the gag reflex.
playing Hogwarts Legacy, like the stutters were so bad. There was a stutter when I was going over the bridge. When I came out of the stutter, I was off the bridge. With the 9800 X3D, there's just like little blips, and I could
Yeah.
totally deal with little blips. I wish they weren't there. And people who are really sensitive to stutters in gameplay, probably it won't fix all your problems, but for me, it's kind of good enough. I played Evil West last night, and they have shader compilation stutters up the wazoo. And yes, they were there, but it wasn't actually that bad in my opinion. So it's an amazing chip. I didn't think that it would have this big of an impact.
Did you have to build? Did you have to add anything else to your rig? Did you get new other hardware besides the MOBO?
New motherboard, new RAM, new CPU. That's it.
Yep. So I concur with your anecdotal evidence. that has no scientific basis other than it feels good.
Yeah, give us the facts. Yes.
But if you concur with me
this-
and you have scientific evidence, A plus B, A equals B, B equals C, A equals C.
No.
Therefore,
No.
I have scientific evidence.
No, we were
No,
just
my
humoring you.
scientific
We were just
evidence
humoring
doesn't
you so we
support
could get
what you
this one.
said.
Yep.
I also just have a gut reaction of it feels better to play because I did the same testing as well with Jedi Survivor, and I did it before you, if you recall, and I texted you and I was like, "Did you test Jedi Survivor yet?" And you're like, "No." And I said, "Okay, never mind. I don't want to say anything until you test it so I don't taint your experience of it." Because I wasn't sure if I was actually just getting placeboed because I started it up and I was playing. I was like, this looks and feels significantly better than the 5900X.
It's like good, right?
Yeah, it's actually
it's crazy.
It's
I
not
played
at all.
Crisis Remastered, and I would typically get around 40, 50 FPS on Cannot Run Crisis mode. And the really intensive scenes where it's CPU limited
At
and
4K, right?
yeah, 4K. And I don't dip below like 85 now. It's insane.
So one of the things to consider too is we are coming from a 5900X, which has several disadvantages as far as gaming goes. One, it's fairly old. Two, is it is a split die configuration with 6 cores on each die, which is not ideal for gaming because data has to traverse the Infinity Fabric, and the Infinity Fabric on the 5000 series was not very fast, especially compared to the 7000 series. So the 5900X was actually not a very good chip for gaming in general. But moving to this 9800X 3D where all the cores are on one chiplet, you don't have to worry about Infinity Fabric traversal latencies, anything like that. You have the 3D cache that they moved from the top of the chip to the bottom of the chip, which means the heat that it was trapping before now is not a problem, and it can cool easier, meaning they've boosted the clocks on it. I'm not going to get too in depth on what it is that makes it so awesome because there's tons and tons of reviews out there that have already done that. But the point is, it works. It does what it says on the tin.
Beautifully.
On the tin, it promised. It didn't even This is another case of AMD under promising and over delivering,
Which is weird because they over promised and under delivered on the 90,000 series.
9000 series, yeah. And so this time they really kind of hedged their bets and didn't crow about it too much. And then the reviewers came in and said, like, this is amazing. And then we got ours paid for. Obviously, we didn't get review samples because we're not cool like that
We're
yet.
not special.
Or maybe ever. But but yeah, it's all true. So
isn't that great though? Like they were basically confident enough to just be like, we're gonna let this one speak for itself.
Kind
like
of,
they
yeah,
didn't need they didn't need to pimp this one as much.
When they talked about it before it got released, they said it would like maybe an average of 8% increase was kind of what they were hinting at. It's more like, I mean, the average increase on it from the previous gen, the previous winner, the 7800X3D, it's like a double digit 12-18% increase
On
over
actual titles that are CPU limited in Digital Foundry's review, they were saying it's like closer to 20.
Exactly.
20% increase.
That's just from the last gen, but for you guys, you guys
for
are
us, we're going 2 gens.
It's like 2x increase for us.
It is
wow.
because we're going 2 gens up, and we're going from not 3D cache to 3D cache. Right. So here's the numbers. I'll run through these real quick. I did some synthetic benchmarks before and after. Those don't really reflect the awesomeness of this chip compared to the previous chip because these benchmarks scale almost perfectly across multiple cores. So they saw a 12-core chip as being better than an 8-core chip, but the synthetic benchmarks don't really matter as much as far as like actual gameplay. But anyway, here's what I got with them. On the 5900X, I actually got a slight regression on Time Spy, which was weird, but then it's because it's an 8-core chip versus a 12-core chip, and it scales linearly with those cores. I got 1567 on the 5900X and 15501 on the 9800X 3D. On Port Royal, which is the ray tracing, one of the ray tracing benchmarks, there was a slight uplift from 26401 to 26537. Now they have one that specifically does just ray tracing features, And I didn't think there was going to be any difference on that because it's just hitting the graphics card. But guess what? I went from 140 to 144 on that because the CPU was more powerful and could relay that information faster when it needed to go back to the CPU. And on Steel Nomad, another test on there, I went from 9306 to 9531. Now, like I said, these are the synthetic benchmarks. They very rarely reflect real-world performance, and you're going to find out why I say that as I dive into these benchmark results from actual games. So everything I tested was either at 4K native, or if the title offered DLSS, I set it up to use DLSS performance, which renders at a 1080p and gives the chip as much of a chance to perform up to its maximum without getting GPU bound. So, or without just being GPU bound, the game being GPU bound. So Borderlands 3 doesn't have any of that though. So I did 4K, and even just at 4K, which usually is just CPU or just GPU bound, no. I went from a 120 average to a 144 average, which is an uplift of, I didn't put the percentages here, but I want to say that's an uplift of 20%, because it's 24 frames. Yeah. So that's a 20% uplift. Avatar, what's the name of that one?
Frontiers of Pandora.
Frontiers of Pandora went from 62 frames per second to 70.1 frames per second.
Ooh.
Yep. But here's where it got really cool. 56, well, I guess it's about the same, but 56 frames per second minimum to 64 frames per second minimum. So you have a higher minimum frame rate threshold, which means you're not going to notice the frame rate dipping as you play. And the maximums went from 69 to 78. Oh, I forgot to give, sorry. No, I was looking at the wrong one. That was Cyberpunk that I was looking at. So Cyberpunk, fully path traced, everything maxed out, DLSS performance, 62 to 70, average, 56 to 64, minimum, 69 to 78, maximum. And that game, I was surprised we saw that much of an increase because that game
So
is
basically
so
the
GPU heavy.
So basically the minimum frame rate before became the minimum of the next. The
Yeah.
maximum of the one before became the minimum
Exactly.
of the one before. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. So with Borderlands, with Avatar, it was one. So there was no difference in the actual average frame rate. It was 121 and 122, but that's within the margin of error. The minimum, though, went from 85 to 95. So once again, over 10% increase on what your minimum frame rates are, meaning you're going to get a smoother gameplay experience overall. And 145 to 152 for the maximum. Dying Light 2 saw a pretty good increase, 109 average to 134 average.
Whew.
Yeah.
It's
and
big.
Even better than that, my minimums went from 98 to 119. So that's another 20% increase on the minimums. And the max went from 136 to 174. Far Cry 6 saw a big jump, 90 to 114. Minimums, 74 to 104.
Dang.
Yeah,
Wow.
so that's a 30% increase on the minimum frames per second on Far Cry 6. Much, much smoother. Red Dead Redemption 2 saw roughly, that was interesting. That one does not scale any better or worse, I guess, at the resolution and things with everything fully maxed, because I went from 145 to 147. Minimums actually went down slightly, 21 to 18, and 195 to 197 for the maximum. So Red Dead Redemption 2 is kind of in its own weird little world. Metro Exodus Enhanced went from 108 to 121 as an average, and minimums went from 60 to 75. So another 15 frames per second increase on the minimums, and 164 to 175 for your maximums.
I want to hear what Lando has to say about this.
I was actually going to say, Lando, could you give us
More
your take?
numbers go faster.
That's what I was
Yay!
like, Lando, can you give us your
So,
review?
I mean, I'm going to ask the same question I always ask because you guys forced me to ask it. Are you having more fun?
I
Yeah.
am.
Then let's go!
It's a much smoother experience.
I can actually play Hogwarts Legacy, and
I was going to say, for the games that suffered, this is probably a huge, this
It's-
makes those games
It's
Worth
game changing.
ano-
Yeah,
worth
I can
another
actually
try.
play games I wanted to play last year this
So-
year.
I
Get
saw
this.
that game changing. Good one.
Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered just came out 2 weeks ago. Went from 98 average frames per second to 139
Oh,
average frames per
man.
second. Now they have a really weird problem with their minimum frame per second because they scored a 7 frames per second on the minimum, and that jumped to 22. So you're still talking about a 300% increase, and then their max went from 177 to 283 maximum frames per second. So
Out of all the
That's-
games you tested, which ones did you deem unplayable based on stutters and issues with it before? Like of all
well,
those, which
Jedi
ones
Survivor
you were...
for sure.
Right,
It
that
was
was
right
one.
on the border
Hogwarts.
of not even bothering to play. I haven't played Hogwarts. Jarron played that one, and you said
But
it
would
was
you have called
basically
that? Would
like
you have
night and
called
day,
that?
right?
Would you have called that not playable before? Like
Totally.
enough that it takes you out of the game where you're like, oh, this feels like an old PlayStation with a scratch disc.
No, it actually made me motion sick with how many stutters it had.
Right.
And so that's the thing that I wanted to point out, even aside from all of this benchmark stuff, is the increase in playability for these games that have issues before or have had issues before, and the raising of the minimum frame rates on a lot of these other games. It's just awesome.
Yeah.
you know.
Don't worry, game devs. Nvidia helped you out.
AMD.
AMD helped you out. You know.
But yeah, there you go. I give this chip, I give it a 10 out of 10.
Yeah,
Cost?
me too.
There's-
Did you guys
blew
get
my
it
mind.
for? Did you guys get it for MSRP or did you have to deal with
Yeah.
scalpers?
Nope, we were able to
MSRP.
score it for MSRP.
Nice.
We both went with the MSI Carbon Wi-Fi motherboard. Super, super nice motherboard.
Is that
Six-
weird to have Wi-Fi on your main
My
computer?
last one had Wi-Fi, but
Oh,
I don't
really?
use it. I just use Ethernet.
It's such a bizarre thing for me. I guess that dates me too, but
Yeah, no more add-in cards. But 64 gigs of RAM, 4090. I mean, it is a monstrous beast of a machine. But to see these kinds of increases when you're completely maxing out the graphics, which usually makes you GPU bound, it shows that these games do have CPU issues, or not issues. Maybe they're just not prioritizing the CPU like they should. And this steps in and
so this pulls back
kinda
some of the
solves quite a
resources.
bit.
So it pulls back some of the resources needed for the GPU.
More like lets the GPU stretch its legs a little more.
Okay.
Yeah. So awesome stuff. Let's move along to a rumor here that Sony is going to buy the company that owns From Software.
Yeah, I'm not excited about this news at all. Rumors are, and this is reported in Reuters, so it's pretty legit. The Sony's in talks to buy Kadokawa, which is the majority owner of Elden Ring. They own 70% of Elden Ring. Sony currently owns
You mean From
14%.
Software?
From Software, yeah.
Okay.
Sony currently owns 14%, so this would raise Sony's stake to 84% of From Software. Kadokawa owns a lot of other things as well. They have their fingers in a lot of things like anime, tabletop gaming, stuff like that. They have other game developers called Chunsoft, which made Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, and another dev that made Octopath Traveler and Mario and Luigi Brothership. So Sony would be making a Nintendo game.
Sony would be making a Nintendo game, possibly.
Crazy.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
It worked out well with Spider-Man. So
No, it's not cool. I think Sony is looking at Microsoft's success of owning Activision, and they're like, we want more of that because
hold on, yeah.
Microsoft isn't doing too well selling Xboxes, but they're quite profitable in their gaming division lately.
Yep.
So
Speaking
Yeah.
of which, Phil Spencer had something to say about that this week.
Yeah. Okay, Phil. He was
Phil,
on
okay.
he's Phil, okay. So he's basically saying that. So I have two stories that I found here. He's mentioning the idea that exclusives could jump to other platforms, specifically Halo possibly going to PlayStation.
That would be crazy. Legitimately.
It is like, I mean, I guess it's the evolution
a
of
new
things,
time, I was gonna
right?
say.
Like this is the way. Like, how can we be mad at people that are like, oh, no cross platform, but at the same time,
when games
gatekeep-
are this expensive and take this long to make,
You
they
have
need the
to.
biggest audience possible.
Exactly.
And PlayStation is the biggest console audience outside of Nintendo.
And so he's saying basically, you know, that's not off the table to have all Xbox exclusive games be available on other platforms. Of course, they get to upsell that, whatever. There's a market there, like a business strategy. That's fine. And I guess I'm actually okay with that. Right? Like I don't know why. I guess a part of me is having this leftover
Console
no,
fanboyism.
yeah, exactly. Like it's
Because
like
you
I'm
own
holding-
a PC now, so you've ascended
Yeah.
past that.
Yeah, and like a little bit's holding on to it, being like, "No, Halo's for Xbox," but I don't really care.
You already
Right.
you already play everything on PC at this point.
Yeah, at this point,
PlayStation games, Xbox games.
at this point,
they're
I
all
don't
on
know.
PC.
At this point, if I didn't have kids, I wouldn't have an Xbox.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't even need it. And so then in the next thing here, he talks about how, you know, yeah, we know that, and in that first one he says, you know, consoles are not. It's a loss. It's a market loss. Like we know we're not making money.
Yeah,
selling
Microsoft's never made
consoles.
money on consoles.
You know, we're not going to make money. But then basically in this article from the Rolling Stones, he says, oh no, but there will definitely be future consoles.
Yeah, they're not abandoning the hardware.
I just don't. It's a weird juxtaposition of him saying, "Yeah,
Well-
we're gonna." Isn't Halo their console seller though? Don't
It used to be.
exclusives-
It used
but
to
don't
be.
exclusives sell consoles?
No, so
Like consoles in
here's-
themselves
here's-
don't have anything to
here's the thing.
offer.
I think that's
Here's
a
the thing,
fallacy.
Owen. There's no more. There won't be any more exclusives that sell the console. What they'll be selling is
A mini PC at this point.
no.
Performance.
easy access to subscription to Game Pass.
Oh, boo.
That's exactly what it is.
That's
They-
what
you
That's
throw-
what he's saying, right?
You throw a piece of hardware out there and say, now for another $20 a month, you have 150
Right.
games you can play at any time.
And maybe they changed. They just shift gears here. Games and exclusive games no longer drive Xbox console sales, but maybe a discount for Game Pass.
Yep.
If you own an Xbox, you get 20% off your Game Pass,
Yeah.
subscription or something.
I think Microsoft is going to have a really hard time with this transition. Like right now, they're really trying to push everything is an Xbox, and they even have
Phones, everything is an
Yeah,
Xbox. That was their ad, right?
they have this new ad campaign. Like, is this an Xbox? Is this an Xbox?
Right,
and it
yeah.
shows like a phone, a laptop, a cat box, or whatever for some reason.
Yeah.
People
That's not
don't.
an Xbox. That's a cat box.
Yeah.
a
Xbox
cat
fans
box.
don't really like this ad.
Well, I think it's
And
just a vocal
I'm in
minority,
that same boat.
honestly.
Yeah, exactly. I'm in that same boat where I'm like, wait, what am I? I guess what am I holding on to?
Yeah,
there?
it's
like,
the ones that still have that console fanboy mentality, and it's like
Why do they need hardware though? At this point,
to
Like,
to make it easily accessible for
Right.
why would anyone buy it though?
Because it's easy.
yeah. And
Is
now,
it?
and now,
That's
it
all
like
it is.
me.
Now
mean,
it comes into
you-
it will really focus on hardware difference. Like you'll really start to see, okay, which one has the better chip
Look at-
in it. Not one has exclusives, but which one performs the best. You know,
Look at for the price,
Yeah.
price point. So I was going to say, look at that the price point and the ease of use. Even if they're not selling it for exclusives, they're selling it for $500, and you can have a good experience with all these games.
Yep.
Whereas you're not going to find a PC where you're going to have that good of experience and that ease of use for $500.
No.
It's just
It's made for
Or
people like me. I just
you
want
bu-
to
or
press
you
the easy
buy-
button, have something to play games on, and not to worry about it. Like
Or
I
you
don't
get
want to
a
be the PC builder. That's not
Or
me.
you get a PlayStation that can play Sony games and Microsoft games.
but they
Right.
do not have Game Pass. So you
Right.
still have
So?
to buy each game separately.
Is Game Pass really that good when the price
It's really that good for people.
Dude.
It's like Netflix for games, Jarron.
Game
It's
Pass
awesome.
is awesome.
yeah. And I think again, they're
I
going to sell that.
disagree.
They're going to sell that.
Get outta
subscription.
here.
They're
I,
going to sell.
I really don't like Game Pass anymore.
You-
The only reason I'm keeping it is because it's easy
at-
for multiplayer gaming.
Look at what you're getting this month. You're getting
It's Owen story time. It's
Oh.
Owen story time.
It's
hang
Owen
on.
story
I'm
time.
Saying, I'm saying you're gonna get the new Stalker 2 game that looks amazing. Next month you're getting Indiana Jones included, and then this
But
year
it's not going to drive sales of Xbox at all.
Not Xbox at all.
No,
That's what I'm
And,
saying. Like that's where. What's
so-
the point of it anymore? as
If
far as
Sony, if Microsoft wanted to turn this around, maybe they'd release another form factor like a handheld. But
They
Phil
said
Spencer's
that's in the part. That's in the
like
in the
3 or
pipeline.
4 years down the road.
Well, I
Like,
mean,
what has Microsoft been doing the entire company for the last
They don't need
5
they don't need
years?
to- they don't
AI.
need to do
only
it.
they only care about AI.
They don't
That's
need
it.
a handheld when they've got people like Asus making the ROG Ally X and stuff that runs Windows. Like
Yeah, but it's a terrible
and-
experience.
Well, that's
Microsoft
the-
needs to improve Windows.
that's the speculation that I was reading. That the thing holding up a handheld isn't the hardware. It's that they need to get the software in
software.
order.
Oh,
So
good
it's
thing
not
they
just a
don't
version
have
of Windows.
10,000 devs employed.
Jaron, you seem a little bitter about this, man.
I just don't like Microsoft lately. That's all.
Yeah. And again, like I
So
said,
you're
I
not
think
going to
I
play
think
the
it's
new
the end
Indiana
of an
Jones
era.
game? You're not
No,
gonna
I
play
am.
the
I
new-
mean, I
That's
love
supporting
Microsoft, and this is why I'm
Microsoft,
so mad at them.
Right. They're not taking advantage of all the things you
No.
think they should. Mm.
Right. Like they Sony dropped out of the handheld race. Nintendo owns it. Valve just comes in and takes a chunk. I mean, Steam Deck isn't huge compared to Nintendo, but
Right.
Microsoft
look-
could
but
be
look what they
driving
did-
huge numbers if they
Exactly.
wanted to.
Look what Valve did just with the Steam Deck, right?
In
The
a
market is
cave!
right? Yeah, exactly.
with a box of scraps.
Yeah, exactly. He built this in a cave with a box of scraps.
Well, speaking of handhelds and PlayStation, there's actually an update there that's pretty interesting. The PlayStation Portal is receiving an update that will let you stream PS5 games from the cloud now, not just from your home console. So
I'm shocked it couldn't do
Who's
that
the
to
background
begin with.
provider for that?
This is Sony is they have their
they
own
have their
streaming.
own. Okay.
Yeah, this is something that should have launched simultaneously with the device. I mean,
Truly.
let's be honest here. But the fact that they are actually adding it is pretty cool.
So this is akin to the cloud PC gaming that Xbox does, or the
Yep.
Nvidia.
So
Shield.
Sony already has been doing that for years as well.
Right.
But now you'll be able to play it with just the handheld instead of having to play it through your PlayStation first and then beam it to the handheld. So you'll need, they say, a minimum of 7 megabits per second for 720.
Is this that weird handheld that Sony made?
Yeah, the one that looks like a
controller with
PlayStation
like a
controller cut in half with a screen glued in the middle. Yep,
yeah,
that's
that
the
thing. Okay, good. Ugh.
13 megabits per second for 1080p. Now, obviously, those are like bare minimum requirements. You're going to get a much better experience if you have faster internet with lower latency. But yeah, they're gonna roll that beta out pretty soon here. One thing to keep in mind is it will not be able to stream PS4 or PS3 games from their cloud streaming services. Only PS5 games
Why?
for some unknown reason. I don't know. So there is that. Let's see. I did want to talk about. Well, I'll let you guys decide. Should we say who the 2024 Game Award nominees are?
Yeah.
That came out
nominees,
this
yeah.
week. So I was
This
surprised.
sucks too.
I was surprised and disappointed at this list personally.
Yeah.
There's a couple games
I
on
love
here
this list.
where I'm like, yeah, that deserves to be there, but most of them, meh. So, number one on the list, well, just in no particular order, but I do agree that this one deserves it, is Astrobot. Astrobot
that's a good one.
pretty dang cool. Now, next on that list, very surprised to see this. Balatro made the nomination
It's so good.
for Game of the Year,
Really?
a card game.
Have you played it,
Wow.
Tony? It's
Yeah,
so good.
I hate it because I can't win.
Really? You're not
I
playing
just
it
can't
right.
believe.
I'm
I
sure
can't
I'm
believe
not
this.
playing it right, but
I mean,
I've
this
probably
just must be by download
first one-
numbers
here's
because
the
Black
thing.
Myth being below this. I don't know.
well.
Here's the thing about Balatro, Tony. The first one's always the hardest. You get the first win, and then they come pretty easy after that.
Yeah, okay, well, that
I'm not
really
even
is hard.
joking.
Elden Ring was easier than Balatro. Black Myth Wukong made the list
Below
for some
Balatro.
reason.
That was really good. I thought. I
It
thought that was doing
impressive from a technical perspective.
I heard it was
Okay.
decent.
Yeah, but it's like an 8 out of 10 game. It's not a 9 or a 10 out of 10
They just
game.
pulled these from ratings. These are Steam ratings.
This is what it feels like. And here's the other thing that doesn't make any sense. Game of the Year.
I thought this was user nominated though, so it kind of does make sense.
Well, I guess if it's user nominated, but this isn't even a game. This next one is an expansion. Elden Ring: Shadow of the Erd Tree is on there.
It's some DLC
They
gets
said
a-
that they would enable expansions now to be
I feel like
nominated.
that was just like so they could get Elden Ring on the list.
Yeah.
If it was any other game that had an expansion that was that popular, it wouldn't have got on there.
Yeah, you're probably right.
It's ridiculous. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I haven't had a chance to play that one. It's supposedly better than the first part, which is good. And then Metaphor Refantasio, which is the new Atlas RPG that's also supposed to be quite good. I've read a lot of really, really good stuff about that. If you're into JRPGs, like Persona and stuff like that. So weird list though, very all over the place, noticeably snubbed from almost every nomination category. Because next you got like best game direction, best adaptation. Well, that's TV and stuff.
Yeah,
Let's
I'm
read that
looking
one
for
real quick.
Baldur's Gate on this. I don't.
That was
Baldur's Gate
last year.
Last year.
Oh, that's
So,
okay.
This
No, it's on this list down at the bottom.
This is a pretty good list here. Best adaptation nominees, though. Arcane Season 2, which I heard is just phenomenal. We're rewatching 1 before we start that one. Fallout, of course, was fantastic
So
on
good.
Amazon Prime. Knuckles on Paramount was
That was
actually pretty
really
fun.
I was
Yeah.
actually really good.
It's good. Like a Dragon Yakuza, which I haven't started yet, but that's a adaptation of the Like a Dragon games. And then Tomb Raider: The Legend of Lara Croft on Netflix, the animated series voiced by Haley Atwell. I've heard good things about that as well. So that's cool. That's kind of a neat list. I want to check out the ones on there that I haven't seen before. But anyway, so you got best narrative, best art direction, best music, best audio design, best performances, innovation. So all of these, not till you get to innovation and accessibility does Dragon Age get any nomination love.
That is nuts.
That is nuts, because Dragon Age, I'm still playing through it. I haven't done my full review, but my ongoing, pre-review, I guess you could say, it's fantastic. It plays really well. The combat is a lot of fun. The graphics are stylized and beautiful, even from a technical perspective and an artistic perspective, which not a lot of games can nail both of those. It's a great game so far, and it didn't even make any of these.
Dude, Balatro is on almost every.
Balatro's getting so many
single-
nods. It's
It's on almost.
It's so
every
good!
single
I-
list.
This is a
Best
mobile
independent
game,
game,
basically.
Balatro. Best debut indie game, Balatro.
Yeah,
Best mobile game, Balatro.
that's
I
wild.
called it. We've been talking about it all year long. It's great.
It's crazy to me, but whatever. To each their own. If people are way into it, then people are way into
Goodness.
it. I did like to see the best independent game list. Animal Well got a nod on there. That's supposed to be really, really cool. And one of these days, I'll probably pick it up and try it out. But I just like seeing that a company started by Video Game Donkey, Big Mode Publishing, picked up this game. They didn't develop it, but they saw it and they picked it up and struck a deal to publish it for the guy that made it. And it's on the list for best indie games this year. So that's pretty cool.
Most anticipated games are looking good too.
Yeah,
I
let's
just really
sit
care
down
about
and look at
Metroid.
those.
Metroid Prime 4. Oh yeah, that's
been
really the
on
only one I
most
care about.
anticipated list
I
for
know.
like 5 years.
I know, but but I'm still there. I'm still with it. Like I'm still hanging for that one.
Yep, you got that. You got Death Stranding 2. That's another one that's not going to be out for like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
Ghost of Yotai, which is the sequel to Ghost of Tsushima. Fantastic game. Grand Theft Auto 6, of course. Highly anticipated.
yeah.
That'll be next year, supposedly. And
Supposedly.
then Monster Hunter Wilds is set for next year. as well.
Interesting.
So, yeah, I'll watch the Game Awards. I usually do every year. Less about the awards and more to see the world premiere trailers, because they always have
Great voiceover.
they always have they're showing off the new stuff. I like to see that. All right, let's talk about Lando's single story here. Do you want to talk about that, Lando?
What story do I have on there?
More spendy, but not in the way you think.
Nvidia Gforce is getting more spendy. But
Oh
not
yeah,
the way you
GeForce
think.
is raising their pricing.
Yeah,
Oh, but it's interesting the way they're doing it. Hold on. Let me remember. Oh, they're limiting your time is what they're doing. So
yeah,
they're not
That's the poopy part.
they're not raising their pricing, but you don't get a limited time. You get only limited time now. So it's getting more expensive, but not in the way you think, which
Exactly.
is dumb.
You're paying the same, but you're getting less for your money.
You're getting less for your money, which means it's more money.
Shrinkflation.
A little bit of shrinkflation there.
Shrink. Yeah, I forgot to put that
Well,
on there.
Yep. So there you go. Let's do a lightning round real quick. We'll start with Owen.
Let's do Minecraft or Nintendo get sleuthy.
Let's do Nintendo.
You want to do Minecraft Land?
Whatever
Okay.
you're feeling.
Okay.
Dealer's choice.
Minecraft Land is really just there's a Minecraft Land. There's gonna be two. There's gonna be one here. There's gonna be one here in the U.S. and one in the U.K. And their plans to open them between 2026 and in 2020.
That is a typo.
I'm like, wow, that's way in the future. UK, sorry, buddy.
and Gadget, 2026 and 2077.
Yeah.
20,277.
That's a ways. I mean, they're just giving themselves a long runway, Tony.
Yeah, they'll be done earlier, probably.
But they're going to have rides and gift shops and restaurants and expand. These guys are the same guys that did Legoland.
Okay.
So they're the second, I want to say second or maybe third largest behind Disney on
second biggest theme park
second
in
biggest
the world.
in the world behind Disney. So got a new Minecraft trailer for that. So go check out the new Minecraft trailer. It's getting closer, right? Doesn't that release soon?
It looks so
April,
good.
April
The
5th.
second
April
trailer looks really good.
Yep.
I mean,
Better than the first because
I'll
Yes.
see it-
not
I'll see
many
it 'cause
people
it's-
like the first.
Yeah. It
I'll
was
see it
I
'cause
love
it's
the
Jared
first.
Hess. You know, I like Jared Hess,
I like Jared Harris.
so I'll see him
So-
for that in and of itself.
Anyway, and then Nintendo Gets Sleuthy is just.
Oh, he's gonna sneak in a second one.
Yeah, so Nintendo
This
Gets
guy.
Sleuthy is just there's a guy on Reddit. Here's the deal. If you're gonna do something illegal, don't go be the mod of a subreddit as well. Like they can be legally compelled they can subpoena them. Anyway, this guy they did Nintendo got pretty sleuthy with these guys, and they set up a sale, and he's basically selling pirated games to people, and so he had a bunch of different companies that were set up as Switch repair shops. Anyway, so they hired a law firm to investigate him. They found a user called in the Discord, I believe. They found his name, Archbox, and then they followed that to Reddit, which they had a Reddit user called Archbox. And then following the post, they just kind of followed the breadcrumbs back, and I identified the guy, and turns out he lives in Surprise, Arizona. Hey, Surprise, Arizona. Yeah, so Nintendo's getting a little bit sleuthy, hiring some people to track people down, and I mean they have one cease and desist basically ended every business venture and LLC he had. So
Yep.
Nintendo doing Nintendo what Nintendo does. This is what I expect from Nintendo, you know.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, he was pirating games.
Totally. Yeah, it was
I mean,
it was
it's not like
illegal too.
It's not like
No,
they're
I wasn't
wrong or
judging.
anything.
I wasn't judging. I was saying this is the effort I usually expect. But then Pal World was kind of like, wait, they're doing it in plain sight. Like, I mean, they weren't doing pirated games, but they were infringing on IP or I mean, as close as you can get without legally doing it. So,
Yep.
anyway, one's illegal, one's not.
All right, Jarron, lightning round, hit it.
All right. Control 2 is going to be an action RPG, which is a.
We kind of already knew that.
No, we didn't.
Yeah, I can write the notes.
Control 1 was an adventure, action
I
adventure
think
game.
if you check
I
the
don't
notes
think so.
for other
If you-
shows,
This-
I think we talked about this.
You go look at Control is
There
an
were
action.
stories from news sites today saying it's going to be an action RPG.
Check the year. Check the
It's
year.
different,
Sometimes I do that.
interesting.
You had stats that you upgraded along an action game in Control.
If there's
1. How
going
is
to
that
be,
different?
what's different is choosing dialogue.
Okay, that could be cool.
Yeah,
Are you sure
See?
about that though?
it's what it seems like it's going to
Did they
be.
say that?
Pretty much any game has upgrade paths nowadays. They're not RPGs.
Those are RPG elements.
No, RPG elements doesn't make them an RPG though.
Elements or
I'll-
what?
Anyway,
I am
moving
very
on. You're
interested.
making my lightning round longer than I want it to be.
I'm very interested to see what they do different to categorize it as an RPG.
Number 2, Internet
If it
Archive is hosting classic Unreal games.
Yeah.
Epic delisted these from Steam a while back, and they did not sell them in the Epic Game Store. They were just out there doing nothing. Anyway, now they're hosted an Internet Archive, and Epic is actually giving the blessing to do that. Their blessing.
Rad.
So very cool. Good guy move on Epic's part, which is rare nowadays. So that's good. And lastly, GOG is launching a preservation program, which is cool. GOG doesn't have DRM in their games, and they've kind of focused on older games.
It's in the name. Good old games.
Which they haven't gone by in like 12 years.
That's
So
true.
games that are part of this preservation initiative have the good old game banner on it. And what the preservation initiative means, it's going to run well on current PCs, optimized, so these games aren't lost to time. So very cool.
Yeah,
Are they doing this as an affront to kind of the opposite of what Steam is saying about how you don't own the game?
Not kind of, yeah, but it was started as a preservation platform, kind of, giving you access to older games. But now they're going a step further, and they're actually taking engineering hours and engineering time to make sure these
Port
games,
them.
are working good on modern OSs. So it's pretty rad. All right,
I got a quick lightning round.
Lando has a lightning round. I don't see it here.
It's not on there, but it's in the Slack notes that are not in there. It's fine.
Oh, okay.
It's really simple,
all
but
right.
World of Warcraft turned 20 this week.
Oh yeah, sure did.
That's a big freaking deal. Like that's pretty big.
And it's
So-
still one of their biggest cash cows.
Oh yeah,
I'm sure it is.
Like, it's still making
for
them...
sure.
I think.
Lots
Do
of
you
money.
guys have any WoW memories?
I never played it.
WoW.
I never played it.
Maybe we should play it
I
for
tried
the
once.
anniversary.
I tried once. I gave it a good 3 or 4 hours, and it just
It's
I
so complicated.
couldn't get
It's
into it.
just... Yeah.
My only WoW memory is a roommate who never left his room because he was playing WoW the entire time.
The stereotype.
Bedpan!
I played it back when I was doing game development.
Ma,
Me and the team were all playing together, like in the same room, and that was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I
that's
can't play it by
actually no
myself, but having someone to like Sherpa
Yeah,
and like
that makes
guide you
sense.
and play in the same room, that was a lot of fun.
Nice. And then, last but not least, you guys remember Black Mesa?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Black Mesa is an awesome remake of the original Half-Life. Well, there's another, and it's remade in the Source engine. There's another independent team out there that is giving that same treatment to Half-Life Blue Shift. Do you remember Half-Life Blue Shift? No? You
No.
play as a guard. Barney.
Wasn't this the Gearbox Half-Life
This
game?
is the Gearbox Half-Life game.
Okay.
I think it also came out, or almost came out, on Dreamcast. I can't remember if it actually got released, but I know it was in development. So this was made by Gearbox back in what was it, 2002, 2003? And it is being ported over to the Black Mesa engine by HECU Collective, a team of modders working with the Black Mesa Half-Life remake engine. And they just released the 5th large update this week. What they've gone and done is totally redid the Zen level, just like Black Mesa, just like the Crowbar Collective did with Black Mesa. They've expanded it. They've made it good, actually, is what they've gone through and done. And they've added that to the game. So if you want to check this out, hit up the link in the show notes and download a mod. You have to have Half-Life Black Mesa, or I should say you have to have Black Mesa to run this, but then this is a mod for Black Mesa, and you can play as good old Barney as he runs through the events side by side with the what's going on in Black Mesa during the first Half-Life game. Ta-da! The end.
Fun.
All right. Time for a shout out to our awesome Patreon backers. Patreon.com/Geekshow. No, /arcade. Helpdesk Arcade. Patreon.com/Helpdesk Arcade. If you donate $6 a month or more, you get a shout out on the air. But there's a lot of other stuff you get along the way too, which Lando has for us.
Yeah, so I know how much you guys enjoy my Patreon pimping, so I'm gonna keep doing it. If you give us just a mere measly $1 a month, you get all kinds of awesome bonuses. You get access to our super secret Discord channel. I am there. I do reply. I talk to people all the time. I do cool things there. It's awesome. You get access to the shows early. The Geek Show Help Desk 1 day early, and the arcade game like 3 days early, 2 days early. Plus, you get them all together, ad free, with the squished between them. It's the best.
Asterisk, you do not get Help Desk early. That releases at the same time for everybody.
You get arcade
But
early.
You get
You get
arcade
arcade
this
early.
show. You get this
and
show.
you get
early.
and you get the
And you get the full thing. And you get
We need to
ad-free.
change that to make what I said true, Tony.
no,
Make
we
that
don't.
happen.
I'm not editing after
Can't
we
you-
record at night. No way.
I'm not asking you to edit. I'm just asking you to schedule the whole enchilada to go out early.
I can't. I
Why
edit
not?
it all together.
You have to edit the two separate. Whatever. We'll talk about this in the after show. Where was I? After I got this year you get a Christmas present from the podcast. If you have not entered your physical address in the Patreon, please do so soon. If you give us even more money, Jarron says stuff on the air. Here he goes.
Thank you to David Broshinsky, Aaron Faulkner, Connor Keesaw, and Butterball Tony.
Nice.
They're our special people, our tech daddies. Thank you. Lambones Eula, not accepted. Jason Eatman. Cuando escucho esta canción, mi corazón quiere cantar así. Bidi bidi bom bom. Fingers crossed Lambo's internet cuts out. You know who else is a Patreon? My mom. Be the 8-year-old. Michael Shane. Tony the Home Theater Geek. Travis Johnson. Buy Geek Show Arcade Top Desk stickers at Pieman Graphics on Etsy. All proceeds go to Lee George Cade's medical bills. Jeremy, no name, no color. Keslow, Eric Steinman, Eric Cruz. The in-between rating plus 15. According to the map, we've only gone 4 inches. DP, Wesley, Adam, Stuart Lloyd. The problem with society is Meatballs is tasty and Game Pass update plus 100.
All right. Thank you so much, Patreon backers. You are awesome. Well, that's it for today's episode. Hope you enjoyed it. Tell a friend. Have them download us. See if they like it. You know, maybe they will. Who knows? Maybe not. It's all up to them. Owen, get us out of here.
Hey, we hope you care.